let's break down Sanders' big win out west. He has momentum, obviously, and money, but does he have the numbers? Daniel Halper is the online editor for the Weekly Standard, and he joins me now. Daniel, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We just watched Kristen's report. We're looking at some of these numbers. The headline really isn't that he won, it's by how much he won by. We're talking 82% in Alaska, 70% in Hawaii, 73% in Washington State. What's the takeaway after this weekend?
It's like Soviet-style numbers. Those are impressive.
Really big numbers.
You know, you don't just win like that if you're not representing
Right.
a huge portion of the party. Look, the math suggests, and I think rightly, that Bernie Sanders won't be the Democratic nominee.
Right.
But we do learn that his voice is very important to the Democratic nominee and to the Democratic Party. And Hillary Clinton going forward has to incorporate it. She can't just dismiss it.
How does she incorporate it?
Well, we've seen her go to the left. We've seen her talk about the big banks and rail against money and politics and things that hadn't in her history bothered her in the past, but obviously they're bothering her now. So she has already. But I think going forward, I think her VP pick has to incorporate Bernie Sanders. That doesn't have to be Bernie Sanders, though I think winning 15 states, which he's done,
right,
including the last 5, Hillary Clinton's only won 20 contests. So it's not, you know, she's not huge. So I think he might have a case to make for him being the VP pick. But more importantly, I think if she's the nominee, she has to say, who can I have on my ticket to speak to these more progressive, more liberal, more socialist, because that's what he calls himself, side of the party, because we need that to beat Donald Trump. Otherwise, we have no choice or no chance.
The numbers, like you said, just from a math perspective, it's going to be nearly impossible for him to get the nomination, like you just said. But going forward, how does she spin this by saying, listen, you know, it's proportional, so I still did get some delegates on my side after this weekend. But how does she spin this weekend? I mean, these are pretty appalling numbers. How does she go forward saying, it's all right, you know, like I said, it's Easter weekend, so she's not out on the trail, but she's going to be out on the trail like we heard Kristen tomorrow.
Yeah, look, I think she still needs to motivate people because she needs to spin this and say, look, my people need to come out and vote for me. They need to continue to give me money. They need to continue to canvass, to continue to call voters, get people to come out to the polls. Otherwise, I'll lose more contests and it will look worse. I think that's her takeaway. I think she, you know, look, she's going to be the nominee, as we've both probably established, and I think as the conventional wisdom suggests. But it's not going to be easy. And Bernie Sanders, because he's raised a historic amount of money from a huge number of people, there's no reason for him to leave the race. He owes it to his people, I think, to stay in, and he has said he's going to stay in to the end, and I think he means it. I think it ensures that she can't pivot to be more moderate and more appeal to more conservatives because he doesn't want her to. And a lot of the party doesn't want her to start pivoting because they want her to speak to them and to their concerns and to the progressive party. So I think that's sort of what's at play going forward.
Are you getting the sense that there are critics that say she perhaps focused too much on the general election too early, that she's been hitting Donald Trump, talking about Donald Trump, as opposed to talking about Bernie Sanders before she's even gotten the nomination? Has there been any missteps there?
I'm not sure that that's where her problem is. I think her problem is just that she's not a very good campaigner. The other week at a town hall, she was asked, what are you going to do for poor whites? What did she say? That she's going to put coal miners out of business and close down coal workers. You know, that's not a sign of a deft politician when you're talking about how you're putting people to work and you're talking about putting whole entire industries out of business. So I think those sorts of mistakes, I think she's brought a lot of this upon herself. Historically, she is, you know, unprecedented front runner, just incredible strengths going into the contest. The weaknesses, granted, Bernie's done amazing things, but I think a lot of them are because of herself and her own undoing, and I think that's a problem for her going forward. Except, of course, there are tons of problems on the Republican side as well, so it's not going to be a smooth battle.
If only we had more time.
Exactly,
right.
in any respect.
Daniel, thank you so much for joining us, and
Appreciate it.
I think we'll have many more conversations like this. Thank you.